All right, how we doing today, guys? Good evening. I know that I am standing in between you and roller coasters and alcohol and free food. This is the second day in a row I have been the final session somewhere, so I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for taking a little time to chat with us about usage analytics and Microsoft 365. We're going to talk with you for the next 75 minutes or so. We're going to be here for a little bit for Q&A afterwards, but we're going to talk about what is available to you, why do you want to look at that data, and what might be available to you in the future. So if you caught our session this morning where we did just a 20-minute theater session, I know I recognize some faces out there, we will go into some of the future exciting stuff and a little more in-depth on some of the stuff that we covered. My name is Brian Masand. I work on product marketing for Microsoft 365 administration in general, and I also work on the usage analytics space, which is kind of part of our philosophy of administration for Microsoft 365. I'll talk a little bit about that, but not too much. You won't get too much from the marketing guy. I'm actually going to do some demos, and I am joined by my colleague Shilpi. So I will let her introduce herself, and then I'll tell you my take on the whole thing.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shilpi Sinha. I'm a program manager lead in Microsoft 365 Core, and I've been handling usage analytics for all of you for about 3 to 4 years now. I'm excited to show you what direction we're trying to take this forward into to help you analyze and all of the usage data further. So looking forward to it.
And she's being modest here. I actually had someone on the show floor describe Shilpi as the queen of data. So if you want to know what is going on in your M365 tenant, if you want features, if you have questions, she's the person you talk to. And basically how we're going to split it up, I'm going to do kind of what exists in the world, and Shilpi's going to talk to you about what is potentially coming in the future. Let's step back for just a second, and let's talk about Microsoft 365 itself and our philosophy for administration here. I'm not going to spend too much time here. If you've seen any of the admin sessions, I promise this goes quick. You're familiar with it. But it's important to think about where analytics fits in our philosophy around administration. So for the end user, Microsoft 365 is a new way that we deliver and design and build and support Windows, Office 365, and enterprise mobility and security. The idea is that the end user doesn't care that those are 3 separate products. They just want their stuff to work, and they want to be creative, they want to collaborate with their peers, and we as IT want to keep them all secure. So kind of break down those barriers, give me a seamless modern desktop experience. On the admin side, we want to deliver the same kind of thing. We want to break down some of those logical functional barriers behind those products and make sure that we're centering the experience around how those teams work and how they can deliver the best possible user experience and how they can do that the most conveniently. So as we build features, we've got kind of 3 areas that we want to make promises around these products. The first, we want to make sure that we're building these for IT teams. IT teams are structured around logical, functional units. Things like this is the security team, this is the compliance team, this is the help desk team. And what roles what tasks each of those roles might do may be across a couple products. I may have to work in Intune, I may have to work in Microsoft 365, I may have to work somewhere else. Bring all that stuff together, make it easy for me to accomplish my job, and make that experience as customizable as possible, because my organization's also unique too, and there's different things I want to look at and do. We want to make that experience as efficient as possible. Why use 2 clicks when we can use 1 click, right? Why go to 2 portals or 23 portals, which is actually true, it used to be 23 portals, when I can go to 1 portal? We want to make sure that you can surface the data and tasks that you use most frequently right up front, really quickly and easily for you. Now we start actually getting into the data side. We want to make sure that we're also providing you with actionable insights. There is so much data that comes from any service. Microsoft 365 creates a ton of data, but so does everything else you use. And as an admin, it can be really kind of overwhelming to understand what data should I be looking at? What are the important numbers? What are the less relevant numbers? We want to make sure that we're surfacing that to you in an actionable way. That's the next step and the next promise that we're making to you, is helping you understand, okay, what does this data mean and what should I do about it? What is the action I should take, the setting I should make, the service I should roll out, so that my end users are going to have a great experience, but also that my organization is going to be protected and secure. And if we look at how we think about these actionable insights, there's a whole lot of different elements to this. There's a data-rich dashboard that we're going to take a look at where I can pin the data that I just want to see the most often. We aggregate insights from a couple different sources, and we bring them into one view so that if I want to look at what one of my users is doing, how his system is performing, how updated is his machine, what licenses does he have access to. I want to bring all of that insight and center it around that user, for example, so that I can see those multiple sources pivoted around the one thing I care about, making that user happy. We're also going to surface recommendations. We talked a little bit about that. We're going to use what we know about your user base. We're going to know what we know. We're going to use what we know about your industry. We're going to use what we know about just best practices, and we're going to recommend, hey, this is a setting you might want to configure. This is a service you might want to roll out. What we're going to talk about today is around usage analytics. This is about realizing the full potential of your IT investment, and that comes from a couple different angles. Let's talk about really what that means. Why do we want to look at usage analytics? You know, why do I care if anyone's using the products that I'm rolling out for them? The first is there's a reason that you rolled out those products, right? So Teams is kind of the great example. We talk with people a lot about that. Somewhere, some exec said, hey, we got to roll out Teams. We want people to be more collaborative. We want to centralize information. We want to make sure they're storing their files in the cloud so we can protect them. There's a business reason that they have said, hey, we need you guys to start using Teams. If we look at the usage analytics data on Teams, we can know if that business objective is successful. And we'll take a look at a couple scenarios when we actually get into the product around what that looks like. The other is going to be around maximizing the value of your IT spend. So you as an IT department spend a lot of money on licenses, right? Have people activated those licenses? Are they using those products? Is this a good investment? We want to make sure that we are empowering IT to say, hey, we're working as efficiently as we can, and we're really driving business impact. There's a third reason we want to look at usage analytics, and I don't actually have it up on this screen, but it's probably my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for Shilpi. You do whatever you want. The third reason to me is the single most important reason you might want to look at your data and the reason why we want to make it accessible to you. I don't know what that reason is. It's your data. You may have some unique business case that you care about, that you want to know how people are communicating, what they're doing in your services. That's great. We should make that data available to you so that you can run those custom scenarios that are unique to you and unique to your business. So that's kind of why we do all this. We're going to jump into what we look at and how we look at it here, but I always want to bring it back to those three things. We want to make sure that we're actually driving this digital transformation that we think we are in our business. We want to make sure that you're using all those licenses that you're paying for, and we want to make sure that you have access to that data to do what you think is appropriate for your business, whatever that may be. So we're going to look at 4 different ways to access this data, which is, may seem a little overwhelming, but there's a really distinct and unique individual use case for each of these ways, and I think it's really critical that we offer that many options to you. First thing we're going to look at is product-level usage reports. So this is stuff that is already in the admin center. Are people using Teams? How are they using it? We'll make sure that's available. We're going to look at scenario-level actionable insights. So this is actually new. I'm not going to steal Shilpi's thunder. She's going to show you some concept art around this, and we'd love to get your feedback, and we'll talk to you about how you can provide that feedback to us. I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk a little bit about cross-suite adoption trends. So instead of just looking at Teams, we're going to have the ability to say, how are people collaborating? Are they using SharePoint? Are they using OneDrive? Are they using whatever that happens to be? And then finally, the fourth one is also new. This is the most exciting one, I think. And Shilpi's going to talk about what that means, your data on your terms, your usage data going into Microsoft Azure. You define the parameters. You decide what you want to do with it. So she's going to show us a little bit of that. So if you kind of look what's going on here, I'm going to show you some existing. Shilpi's going to show you some new. I'm going to show you some existing. Shilpi's going to show you some new. You're going to go ride a roller coaster at Universal Studios. And that's really where we're all trying to get to. I know you're just killing time until the buses leave. Let's take a look at those product-level usage reports. So I'm actually going to jump over to my demo machine, which of course has locked itself up with the magic of Windows Hello. I didn't even have to type anything in. And I'm going to go over and take a look at what those product-level usage reports look like. So get my notes up here. There we go. So this is the current experience in the dashboard. This is something that if you're an M365 admin or an O365 admin, you have access to this at admin.microsoft.com. So I'm going to show you all real stuff. If you saw any of the preview dashboard, we've got some new features coming up, some new design language. Brad Anderson presented it in his session, and again with Ron Markozich, it's what we have in the booth. I'm not going to show you any of that It's coming. So just kind of get excited that this is the current experience and we're going to have something really exciting available in a little bit. So the first thing that I see when I sign into my admin.microsoft.com is usage report on my Office products. This is a card that I have pinned to my dashboard because this is something that I care about and I want to check every day. I want to see, hey, how are people using my products? Are they using my products? And it also kind of tells me, what's business looking like right now? Is it a big spike? Is it a dip? You'll kind of notice some troughs in there. Those are the weekends. People are working less on the weekend, I hope. I'm going to click in on that. So that, I'm using my touch device here, but obviously you could do that with a mouse. And I see, first thing, a larger view of that same data. Just much easier to manage and understand and know what your scales on your X and Y axes are, for example. From here, I've got a couple pivots where I can actually change what I see. So that's not a touch monitor. This one is. If I just want to look at this week's trend, let's say you work for a giant multinational tech company and you're going to a giant conference in Orlando, you can see what those spikes in usage rates look like over the last 7 days. And I can bump that out to 90 days. I can bump that out to 180 days, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I see individual reports for the various different products within Office, and I can see some information on how people are using those. So let's stick with our team scenario. This is something that we get questions about a lot. Let's say that in my hypothetical scenario here, we've been told to roll out Teams, and we want to make sure people are using it. So I get into the Teams report, and I see, the first thing I see, 16.9% increase over the last 180 days. That's pretty cool. We're trending in the right direction, and we're getting more people to use it. I also, down at the bottom, see that active users section, and I see that nearly 1,900 of my 1,947 users, I don't know, is that like 97%, have been active in the last 180 days. Now that's kind of a long time period, right? Great, you used it once in the last 90 days, sorry, that's what we were pivoted at. Let's take that back, let's go to 30 days. Let's see what's going on there. Still up 24%, so I know that in the last 30 days it's up even more than it has been, so we're on an upward curve, right? And I still have about 95% of my users have been active in there. That's pretty cool. But I do notice they're using channel messages, they're using chat messages to talk to each other, one person to one person, but they're not really taking channel messages, and that's one of the big reasons that we really wanted to implement Teams. We wanted sales teams, for example, to be able to communicate with 2 or 3 or 7 people easier. So I'm going to go ahead and click in on that, and I'm going to see what's going on with this specific kind of information. And I look and I see the same kind of week-over-week trend. That's great. I see chat messages. They're using a ton. They're barely using any channel messages, and they're definitely not using any calls and meetings. This is not the behavior that I wanted to implement on my user base. And what I can do is actually see a little bit of that user base, all that user base, here in the graphic interface. Now, the names here have been obfuscated. We're respecting privacy, and you can do that too in your tenant. So you'll see all these various codes that are their username. But imagine the names of your colleagues there. And we can see fields in there around what they're actually doing. We see their channel messages. We see their number of chat messages. We see their number of calls. And I can start to identify power users. So I'm going to go over here to my channel messages. I'm going to sort descending, and I see that my guy 2EE3C8, he's awesome at channel messages in Teams. He's the guy we want to be more like. And I can also sort descending the same way and see folks that are not using this as much. I'm going to, as an IT department, go out and look and see what is this set of individuals doing, and is it effective for them? And I'm going to try and take those practices and help other people within our organization follow those practices. And that may be driving more training, it may be driving an email campaign, it may be working with managers of certain teams to help understand what's going on and drive that type of behavior. So I can see those kind of trends in the modes of communication. A couple other things to point out here is that all that information is also available in Graph APIs. So if that's something that you're using elsewhere, or you have some other system that you want to plug this data into, that's all super well documented and accessible to you. I can also export as a CSV here and do something else that I may want to do with that particular data set. Again, we're trying to find ways to help this be available to you for whatever reason you might want to see your data and however you might want to help influence that user behavior. So this is what exists in the scenario, in the dashboard right now. You can go use all this stuff. I'm actually going to hand it over to my colleague Shilpi, who's going to show you some of the new stuff that is coming to the dashboard. So with that, I will flip you over, and I will hand you that.
Perfect. So before I start, just want to do a quick show of hands. How many people are actually familiar or already use the capability that Brian just walked us through?
That's pretty
awesome. We love you all. Just want to point, for those that have seen this for the first time, please make sure you go back and take a look at it in your admin portal. All of this capability is for you to be able to understand and answer the questions that are coming your way in terms of how these services are being used. For those that have already been using, be sure to give us feedback. If you like or dislike anything, we're actually looking and reading every piece of feedback that is ever sent on that right bottom feedback page. So we're listening. One of the things that I want to, as I shared the vision of how we want to evolve this space, I want to really ground ourselves. What we've done is grounded ourselves in the feedback that we're either receiving directly from the portal or by talking to customers in terms of what are the shortcomings or what are places where we can improve in what we offer today so that we can actually help you guys answer the next generation of questions. And what might that be? Today you're attempting to look at product level usage, but that's not how you really think about M365. What you're really looking at is what is the promise of M365 that was sold to you at the time that you started adopting and taking your organization on that journey. You were told Microsoft 365 enables you to be more productive, more creative, more intelligent, more secure. And all of that promise we actually do hold true. But what we don't do is help you articulate that value from our product itself. Because once we're done selling to you, you start getting worried about deployment, and you go back into trying to say, all right, Mr. Admin A from my organization, you take care of Exchange, I'm taking care of SharePoint, somebody else do Skype. All of us start looking at everything in a product silo, which is fine. It helps us stay focused. But what it really does is takes away all of our ability to really look at the value of the suite. And so when we started looking at what are really people asking of us, they're post receiving all of this information from us, people were still struggling and saying, I'm still trying to figure out what's the best way to articulate the value that my organization is getting out of M365. And our job, as we look at this journey forward, is to help and partner with you in that journey to be able to really make the product speak the value that it's providing to your organization. So how might we do that? First of all, the path we're choosing is to not focus purely on product level insights, but actually start talking about the scenario level insights. And what do I mean by scenario? So like I was saying earlier, the proposition of M365 when it comes with Office Pro Plus, OneDrive and SharePoint, Exchange, Skype, Teams, all of this is about how we're enabling you to be able to take your organization on that modernized workplace environment. So you want people to be able to say, are people really doing document collaboration in the most modern possible way that they could be? And what that might look like, right? Are people actually working in teams together, collaborating together in the most modern and possible way that I'm already paying for? I've acquired this subscriptions, I'm already paying for all of these services, but are people actually modernizing the way? Or they're all going back to their comfortable known ways of doing things? So what we're trying to do is help you articulate first in the perspectives of these scenarios, but also look at it from a perspective of the funnels of where are you actually losing the most users in your organization, and how might you prevent that so that you can actually help maximize utilization. And I think just the fact that you're here, I think it signifies that we're all on the same page about usage being a safe proxy for value. Do you guys agree with that? It's a safe proxy. There's a lot of different elements that you can apply on top of it, and so more sophistication on top, but your first order of bit is, if people are using what you're paying for, you're on the right track, right? So that's the sentiment that we're trying to attach to and give you more lenses on looking at usage in a more sophisticated way. But to tie back to what Brian was telling earlier in terms of how we're actually helping you take actions and do more with this data. What we have today in the product-based usage reports is a lot of information. That's good, because now you have a list of all your users. You can take a look and sort of say who's using, when was the last they used, who else can you bring on board, train, and do stuff. But it leaves a lot of the thinking, the decision-making, the conclusions to derive from that, and all of the actions all on you. And first of all, thanks for using our reports, but also thanks for doing everything that you do in terms of configuring, deploying, and everything else. And on top of that, you're also expected to understand and do stuff about adoption. So we realize it's a lot of work. And what we're trying to do is really simplify that for you and take the information that is in all of these reports, but really convert that into insights. Draw the conclusions that you should be paying attention to, and make it really contextual for your organization. So the reports today look exactly the same no matter who you are. They give you the exact same information no matter which company you are. But our future is to be able to take it to the spectrum where we're actually giving you contextual information that's relevant for you to take action on. And the other concept we're trying to do is, along with the insights, we want to help you take actions absolutely in line to where the entire context of your information is. So today, a lot of pieces of information are available in different parts of the admin portal. If you have the time, you can actually look for it. If you don't have the time, you might just give up. What we're trying to do is connect it all in a way that you can actually have all the information you need, all of the insights drawn for you, and the actions connected with you right in one pane. In addition to that, what we're trying to do here is give you a little bit of a North Star, like how is my organization doing with respect to others like me? And in this ecosystem, it's kind of hard. One would say, if my organization is using 30% of our licenses, 60% of our licenses, are we doing good? How do you actually give yourself a rating? Like, are you doing well? Is there a scope for more? It's a voodoo magic. It's not a very exact science. So what we're trying to do is bring in some level of comparative element to this to sort of say, how are you doing in comparison to others like you? And what that really means is we're looking at the cohort of customers who are on the M365 stack and being able to pivot it by people in the same industry, in the same region, in the same size as you, same age as you on our infrastructure. And we're able to kind of do a lot of cohort analysis to say, if we were to look at the general cohort of people that are like each other, where are you in that spectrum? Are you on the farther end? Are you the North Star that others would follow? Or are you setting, is there a North Star that we can set for you? So we're going to show you some examples of how all of these concepts are actually going to play out. We're really excited to share the concept, but I do want you to internalize this as a concept, and we will be refining it with a lot more feedback over the course of this year. So if you're keen, we will definitely post a blog when we're ready to start getting more feedback on it. So if you're keen, please be on the watch out for that. But what I'm going to step into now is a walkthrough of some of the concept as we've been envisioning it. And I'm going to slowly and steadily walk you through some of the major components of this screen that you're seeing. First of all, our approach here is to land, when you come to the main admin portal that Brian was just talking to you about, where there will be insights and intelligence built right on your front screen, you will be able to customize that and be able to add the information that's relevant for you to focus. What we'll also do is really power it by intelligence that we will be able to assess what is the right focus for you. So instead of just bombarding you with a lot of information, we'll help create the focus for you by understanding where you are in your journey and what's the most right thing for you to be able to focus on to really help your users along that journey. So with that in mind, what you're seeing here is a version of what your main dashboard page could look like. How you would get to this spot would be perhaps going through the minimalistic admin portal experience, where you would go into the Add Card button that you see on the absolute top right, and there's a panel there that will show up with all possible insights, and you can pick and choose what's relevant for you. And assuming what you've done is all usage analytics insights, or the most relevant ones that we have popped in there, are relevant for you as well, you would pin them into your admin portal dashboard. And so the types of information that you're seeing here is, first of all, the most familiar one that you already have today that you look at by product. So we wanted to keep the continuity of what you're already used to seeing there. So today you see that squiggly line report chart that shows you the 30-day view of all of your services. It's very hard to consume. So first thing is we're just going to kind of simplify that a little bit and just give you a view of all the users that are enabled to use any of the services under Office 365, how many of them are actually active. You already see this number today in the squiggly line that shows up on the top of that chart. You just don't see a number that's associated with Office 365. We'll bring that in, and it'll be an easy way for you to be able to understand that number. And if you click on that card, you will be able to go back to the familiar product level reports that we have today. However, let me draw your attention to the other 3 cards that we brought in there. So let's say we were talking about document collaboration. And if I was able to tell you, hey, 50% of your users are still attaching files to emails instead of doing cloud share, would that get your attention? Is that something you're trying to change? Good, great. So I will not click on that card yet. I'll continue walking you through the rest of the other 2 cards. So let's say, for example, I was giving you a sense on meetings. Some of you might be in your transition to Teams, might be waning off of Skype and moving on to Teams. You want to be able to see how's that going. Are people actually actively started looking at scheduling their meetings from Teams, or are they still using Skype? And what does that trajectory look like? If 6 months ago you had 800 users that were using Skype to schedule meetings, how far off are you? Are all of them on Teams yet or not? So we're giving you a general comparative sense for what are people in your organization using to schedule meetings. Would that be of interest? Just curious. Hands up, hands down. Cool, okay. Perfect. So keep going to the right of that. You're now looking at a piece of information that says, this is how many people are using Teams in your organization. That's the green line. But there's a gray dashed dotted line there. We're trying to bring benchmarks, like I was mentioning earlier. How are other customers that, like you, who are in that freshly adopting Teams state, where are they in their journey? How many users? What percentage of users in their organizations are actually adopting Teams, and how far are you from that? It's just a general benchmark. You can be anywhere in that spectrum. It depends on your organization's goals. But if that piece of information was available, would that spark an interest in you to do some action? Cool, okay. So these are just some sample insights that we think we can actually bring to the forefront of your attention to help you take the next set actions. But what I'm going to do is walk you through the concept of what I really mean by a scenario level insight. And so I'm going to click on the document collaboration tile and take you through the full flow of what are the other types of information that we're planning to expose as part of the scenario level insights. So that's second piece of concept, and I'm going to slowly walk you through the whole, all the pieces of information on this. First of all, you're seeing 3 basic sections to this. There's something about user activation, there's something about content creation, and there's something about cloud collaboration. Basically, what we think is that there's a step function which starts from you setting up your users correctly and going all the way to the spectrum of them performing cloud collaboration activities. And the general... Do you take questions now or questions can be later? Is that okay? All right. So what we're trying to do is basically help you understand the spectrum of where your users are. But at each level, we're trying to give you a sense of funnel. Where are your users? What's your starting point? Like, how many users did you start with? And how many of them are actually progressing through the various stages? And it gives you a sense of trying to understand where is the biggest drop point for your users. It could mean an action on you. It could mean an action on your users. And we want to be able to help spot that for you. And again, a lot of these pieces of information are available in some or the other portion of the admin portal. It's just never brought together for you. So let me walk you through this. The first part of the user counts funnel that you're seeing is how many licenses do you have? And I'm not counting all your licenses in this. All I'm counting is which are the licenses that actually give you the ability to have your users do document collaboration on the cloud. You could have a whole bunch of other licenses from Microsoft, but I'm not counting all of them. Because I'm in the context of document collaboration, I'm only counting what licenses you have from us that actually enable your users to do that. And of course, If some of those licenses are up for renewal, we can easily give you an inline action about it that sort of says, hey, you know what? A few of that is going to come up for renewal. If you want to prevent disruption of service, you might take action right here. The idea here is there is an insight available that you can take action. If you click on it, the right pane will come up, and you'll be able to do your typical license renewal activities directly from here. If you choose not to take an action on that, but just kind of continue the flow of the chart, what you'd see is, so notice how on the leftmost pane, your focus is now on the second line, where this is the set of users who have a license assigned to them. So this is an action that you, as an admin, have to take. And so out of those 1,000 that you're paying for, perhaps you're in that journey of assigning licenses out, and you've done it for about 800 of those users. And we want to gently bring that to your attention, because that just means that there's so many more people that you could be making more productive in your organization that still there's a pending task on that. And we want you to be able to assign those licenses out so that everybody in your organization is actually using the value that you're actually purchasing for them. Next, when you start assigning licenses, there's the whole pane of being able to say which products are you enabling them for. I want to bring your attention to this phase. It's actually, most folks actually think about it in terms of licenses and assigned. Our current in-market product, which is the product level usage reports, this is the step that initiates the process that we look for. And what I mean by that is, when you enable a user for a product, that action triggers the inclusion of that user in our report base. So let's say, for example, you have 800 E1s or E3s, but you've not enabled people to use SharePoint. We don't count them as the possible users who can use SharePoint. It's not until this step is complete that we start counting them, because then those users become the denominator of the users that we look for, and we go after and then sort of look at activity that they're doing and then build up all the reports. So it's actually a very important stage. It may not be very, it may be very natural for you to do it all in one step, but I just wanted to call that out. That's a distinct step from a usage activity perspective. And then we want to give you insights like, let's say you did choose for whatever, at the time that you were creating products, assigning these products to them, you had whatever reason to not turn them on for OneDrive. Sometimes you forget. And there's really no way for you to actually go back and find out how many users had you actually not turned on OneDrive for. And we just want to gently nudge you. And if this is not an element that you want to take action on, you can absolutely dismiss that action. So if you look on the third pane, there's a feedback up arrow, thumbs up or thumbs down. If you thumbs down us on any particular action, our plan is to basically make that insight never show up on your action chart ever. So this is what we're trying to build here, is a self-learning, contextually relevant system that understands what's right for you and helps nudge you in the right direction. Specifically in the document collaboration space, there's a step around Office client activation. And a lot of times you as an admin may have done everything you need to do, but your users haven't. And this is an insight that we have today in terms of Office activation, where we just want to bring that information again in line with the rest of the document collaboration, because you could realize that that's where your funnel is actually losing most customers, because you've done your job, but you still need a lot more people to be able to do their end. And last but not the least on this one, we want to be able to say, actually not last, but this one's an interesting one. Your Pro Plus subscription can actually be installed on multiple devices. A lot of people choose to just install it on one or the other. So what we want to do is, again, bring that forefront so that you can actually see, are people activating it on any of the other devices? And if organizational policy-wise that's right for you, then you can gently nudge users to be able to be more mobile or whatever else is the philosophy that you're trying to push for in your organization. So the last piece on this funnel is how many users are actually now that they're set up. So we think that those are some of the steps that helps them get onto the path of being able to use. Once they are set up, are they actually using? So what do I mean by cloud active users, right? There's a set of people that are using their Pro Plus subscription or using Office client to be able to connect to OneDrive or SharePoint, because that's enabling them to be able to create content and go ahead and share that with others and help them contribute or collaborate with them on that. So it's a simple definition of you've used an Office client and you've actually touched the service in some way so that you're actually saving cloud files. But what does the insight there show me? It says the people in blue are the people that are actually doing the activities that I just described. But the people in purple are the ones that are actually using their Pro Plus license, so they are creating content, but they've actually never saved to the cloud yet at all. And you want to spot those users, because to some extent you have enabled them to the cloud. They are at risk of saving their files locally, and if anything, God forbid, happens, you're going to be not able to recover their content for them. So you want to gently nudge these people to save those documents to the cloud. That's what you've provisioned for them, and you want them to be able to use it. And the gray ones are actually even more alarming, because they've actually used neither, right? They've not even used Pro Plus to create content, and they've not saved it. Now, it could be that that's the right thing for them. They're not the ones who are going to create content, and that's fine. But that helps you then plan the way you dole out some of these licenses and stuff. So let's walk through. What do you see on your leftmost chart? The benchmark. I wanted to bring your attention to the benchmark. It's on your left panel right there where I showed you the cloud active users. I'm actually gently nudging you to say other customers like you in your industry are at somewhere in the 82%, made up number for now. But nonetheless, the idea is you see you are at 50%, and you see that there are others that are utilizing more than you are. And so it's our gentle way to say, perhaps this gives you a little bit of perspective. But what I want you to do is observe a couple of things on this UX. One, on the user activation level, I've got a number 3 in red. So basically, we've assessed of the 8 or 9 things that we could actually tell you, the insights on this level that we could tell you. We think 3 are worth your attention, that you actually go back in there and look at what the action associated with it and consider taking that. And so those are the ones that are gray, in red circles at the bottom here of the inside. So what I'm actually going to do now is walk you through a flow of how you could take inline action. So let's say, for example, the fact that you were so off the benchmark, and that's almost 50% of your users are not utilizing the capabilities in the way you want them to. It provokes you enough that you're actually saying, let's take this action right now. So you would click on that email users button. Now again, our goal is to not reach out to your users by ourselves. Our goal is to enable you to reach out to the right set of users with the right data points or the right information, so that there's a lot of auto-curation of content that's done. We're thinking of, because we have the context that you're looking at it in the context of cloud active users, what's the behavior that's going on in your organization? Can we actually bring in snippets of training or video content that we've already created that helps you point your users towards the right motivation of going and using this? So the example here we have is, let's say, for example, now 400 people there are 400 users in your company that could actually, it'd be worth your time to actually reach out to. But then you sort of stop and say, do you really want to reach out to all 400, or do you want to control this? So we are thinking of doing two concepts here. One is, if you let Microsoft Smart select the type of users that would benefit. And the thing here is, our hypothesis is that we can do the right data science behind this to be able to help you understand who are the people that are actually creating content. They are creating content, they're just not creating and saving it to the cloud. They are sharing somehow, perhaps attaching files with people to be in emails. So they are somewhat collaborating, they're just not collaborating in the most modern way that you would want them to. So we want to be able to intelligently detect all of those users and create that list for you so that you don't have to do a lot of thinking and magic around it. So we came up with this smart select notion. We were like, what if we were able to tell you that, I'm feeling lucky. Have you seen that on Google or whatever else that sort of says, tell me what you search. So it's kind of like that, building on that concept. So let's say you drag the slider and say, I'm feeling lucky. Just find me the 200 users that would actually be most beneficial for me to spend my time on. And then of course, there's no blind date here. So we would show you the list of users. So you say, all right, let me review the list of users there. So now we show you all of the people that we self-selected. We also bring a little metadata about that user so that you know which departments they are, which location they are. Now again, this is information that if you do provide in our AAD, we would be able to pull from there. So a little bit of give and take. You put your data in our AAD, we give you back value within the products the same way that we've been doing on the adoption content pack. So we'll bring some of those data points in here. And let's say you look at that list and you say, I don't feel like trusting Microsoft on this one. Perhaps I'm going to self-select. So let's say you toggle the switch and sort of say, I'm going to self-select my users. I'm going to go specifically by everybody in a certain department, because that's what my goal is right now. I'm going to make sure everybody in engineering is writing up their design docs and writing up their specs, and they're all collaborating on their ideas together. And I want to target them with some sort of a communication if they've not already started storing their documents on the cloud. So you were saying, I pick all of the engineering folks, and I'm going to send an email notification to them. And again, we don't want to do anything on your behalf, so we help you curate that email, so you can then look at the email template. There's a lot of content in here in terms of how you can actually, you'll be surprised actually, Microsoft fast-track sites and all of these, there's a lot of content that we're already creating, very short 2-minute videos that are very effective in helping you understand capabilities that are available in the product. It's just very hard to find, and nobody's really looking for it. So we're trying to connect all of these dots that are available out there. So we know which scenario you are in, what's the right training material that we can actually point you to. If you want to customize this, make it your own, you can edit this email before sending it out. But the key thing is, the value doesn't stop at this point. Let's say I received an email from my admin. I looked at it, perhaps clicked around, or didn't do anything. Kafir here, he may decide to take action. He may go in, click a link on that video. Our goal is to be able to track some of this action that was embedded in that email so that we can actually tell you, are people responding to your action that you requested of them? So where does the story go next? First of all, let's say you came back to the admin portal dashboard and you saw, okay, there was a little bit of a change. Who responded and not? So if you look on the right pane, we sort of say your target audience was 400 people. You reached out to 200, and 15 of them have responded, right? Good, I'm getting claps. That's nice. I love it. So the idea here is we want to help you take the insight, take the action, connect it all, and track and monitor progress on it. So ultimately, we're just helping you nudge your org in the right direction. So that's the general direction we are in. The story goes on, so I'm actually going to walk you through a couple more slides, because this is just one of the action flow that I wanted to show you. If you continue on that funnel, one of the interesting things that we're thinking we can do here is help you see what that usage means for your organization. So it's quite possible people are still doing document collaboration. They're just doing it with some of the older versions of Office. Perhaps some unsupported, some supported. You want to really start tracking that down. Again, we'll be able to help you see what proportion of your users are actually connecting from some of the older clients, and you might be able to go follow up and take an action thread from there as well. Sometimes the action is on you, sometimes it's on email users, so that's where we kind of keep refining the actions on every one of these insights in terms of helping you where you are the action taker and helping you to help others where others are the action takers in there. This one's a personal favorite. Again, I'm not sure how relevant it is to you, so once I'm done talking about this, let me know if you like it or not. But this one's interesting because we have a way to be able to, at a per customer level, we know at per scenario, what is your general trajectory or trend in the last 6 months and things like that. And let's say, for example, you set up everything properly and your organization is using healthily and everything else is going fine. But, talked about that benchmark. Let's say you were doing better than the benchmark at some point and now you're gently nudging down. There must be something going on in your organization. You can sort of say, hey, you know what, set me an alert. Next time I drop below whatever thresholds. It could, I'm just giving an example here of as compared to the benchmark, but we're envisioning this as being something that you can actually set a threshold for yourself. Like anytime I go below 40% of usage or whatever else you can, give me an alert. The idea here is, can we help you get proactive about understanding the usage trends in your organization and be proactive about stopping trends that are downwards before that actually becomes a problem. So that's again, just quick show of hands. Would anyone like that? Awesome, cool, all right. So continuing on this, let's say now you've set up your users, they're using things well, and you're now wanting to look at really what is the extent of collaboration that's happening, right? So this is where, are people creating content? are people contributing to content? We basically look at this from two different angles. It speaks to a different level of collaboration that's happening between people. And we just decided to kind of create a grouping around it so that you can see the differentiation there. So let's say, for example, you are looking at content creation. And so, what are the types of files that people are creating, and how much storage is each of those file types really consuming across all of your sites? Whether that's a SharePoint site, whether that's across OneDrive, what are the file types that people are saving? And if there is actually 40% of content that's other than the core Office file types, you might think perhaps there's videos out there, who knows? So you might want to take some action on it. So we want to be able to show you which sites are these big files sitting on and being able to take actions from there. Again, a lot of this information today is already available. We have a site usage report that's available that gives you, by site, it gives you an ability to look at usage, but we just want to try and connect all of those dots. If you look at information, like people have created content. Some of them are really old content. Some of them are recent. How many documents have been created recently? How many documents do we want to really go back and kind of do some management around? Does it really need to live around or not? So we want to be able to project some of that information in there and help you manage some of that content that exists. So once people have created content, you'd want to be able to take a look at the next step in that, am I sharing my ideas with other people, right? So create content and making sure everything is on the cloud is first step. But the next step, which basically is a precursor to collaborating with others, is the content shared out, right? So what we're doing is, typically, what's the pattern in your organization? Are people sharing with one or two people, with multiple people, with hundreds of people? Is it a broadcast of a document of sort? So generally giving you more insights around what's happening with the type, what's the type of sharing. And of course, if people are sharing, the next thing out of that is people that they share it with, do they even read those documents, right? Because that starts to show what's the real level of collaboration going on in your organization. So you're looking at how many documents were shared out, and of those, how many were read. And once you're looking at how many are read, you're basically now in the true cloud collaboration, because once people have read the documents, are they actually commenting on it? Are they contributing it, co-authoring with it? Because now you're in the extreme ends of the capabilities that we have truly built our products for to be able to enable that level of productivity in your organization. So if people in your organization, the more the number of people that are in your organization, if it aligns with your organizational goals, you can now sort of make a clear assertion that your organization is getting value out of the document collaboration capabilities available in M365. So I started with that goal, and I'm sort of making sure I'm connecting the dots for you again. That's our core hypothesis here, that by the end of this, that as you've looked at the entirety of the scenario, you'll be able to say, are you deriving value out of that? So so I'm going to basically, so that's all of the concepts I have. Thank you. So I'm going to hand it over to Brian now. Brian. That was the end of everything, the first concept that I wanted to talk about. And then Brian's going to walk you through what's in market today with adoption content.
Yes, I'm super excited to see some of those changes that are coming. And one of my personal favorites in there was the set alerts. I'm a big, let's get this set up, and then as long as it's working, you keep working. Tell me when you're broken, right? So I think that's a really cool setup. But I am a man of action, and I am a man of data, and I'm actually really excited to show you some of the stuff that is currently in market that you can use. So I know we saw a couple hands of folks that are actually already using the Power BI content pack. That's awesome. Some of you guys may already know some of this stuff, some of you may not. I'm gonna move fairly quickly through it, but this is all stuff that you can go home and actually do. So if you're familiar with Power BI, it's a really powerful tool for pulling down data, analyzing data, slicing data, sharing data, okay? So what we've done is basically provide you a predetermined dashboard where you're going to be able to see the views that we suggest to you, and you're going to be able to drill down and look at things that are more built around scenarios, more types of are people collaborating using documents in the cloud, pulling in data from SharePoint and OneDrive, for example, to say, yeah, we've got a lot of sharing going on, or no, we don't, we need to drive that behavior. If you don't like what's in our views, that's great. That's the beauty of Power BI, it's really easy to modify the views that we've created. It's really easy to create your own custom views. And it's really easy to mash up with other types of data or other sources of data. So if you have data about Teams usage, and I keep using that because it's easy and it keeps us all grounded in the same place, and you might want to cross that with your sales data and say, hey, folks that use Teams are crushing their monthly quotas, and folks that are not, are not. So what can we do to drive that behavior to help some of those folks that are not doing so well get onto Teams? I'm going to, again, use the magic of Windows Hello. Let's see how it works. Pretty well on stage, which is awesome. And I'm going to flip over to my demo machine. So I'm in Power BI. This is the free version of Power BI that every single person in the world has access to if they want to. It's at powerbi.com. You can sign in. There are paid licenses. They get more cool stuff. But you can get started on this for free. To get access to this data, I've gone into my admin center, and I've I've made this data available to Power BI. So I've said, hey, you can release this data to Power BI. I went over to Power BI, single sign in, it knew who I was. It said, hey, you have access to this data. Pulls up that content pack. Now, you'll see I only really use 2 of these content packs. There's only 2 things up here that are interesting to me. The one on the bottom, the adoption preview, is the old one. That's probably what you have if you have this. There is a new template that you need to go pull down. So you'll go and you'll search for usage analytics or Microsoft 365's usage analytics. Basically what you get with that is a couple new views, but most importantly, you get Teams data in there. And I know I keep harping on that, but that's what the feedback says. That's what it says you guys are interested in. So let's go and take a look at what that Power BI looks like. So there's a bunch of interesting types of information here in the Power BI template. We've got a lot of information around adoption. Are people using the actual services that you give them access to? We've got a lot of information around communication. How do people within your org and people within your org to people outside of your org, how are they communicating? Is it chat? Is it channels? Is it phone calls? Is it meetings? We've got a lot of information around collaboration. Where and how are people sharing files? Do we have a lot of internal people, a lot of external people accessing them? And are they just accessing themselves or other people in the organization? And then we've got a lot of information around activation. And this is one that is really actionable, something you can take a look at right away and maybe save your organization some money. This is pretty cool. You can see in the activation views, and I don't have one on screen here, but how many licenses do I have available out there? How many people have actually activated these things and started to use them? Ideally, what we have you do is drive some activation and drive some usage of those services. There's a reason they're out there. But if you've got a bunch of extra licenses out there, there's an opportunity to save some money for your organization. That's an easy win for admins, right? So let's take a look at a couple of these views here. So I sign in, and I've got a bunch of different information that Microsoft has said, hey, maybe this is a good starting point for you. I see 99.23% of active users. That's pretty cool, right? In this particular tenant, people are actually using the services that I have. I can actually also see, top center there, top 10 most active departments. So I can know, hey, my sales team is really using the services that I'm rolling out to them, but HR isn't. What the heck? Let's go talk to HR and let's see how we can drive some behavior there. And these are pivotable by AAD attributes. If you're using Azure Active Directory on your users, you can see where they're located, what their department is, that sort of thing, and you can click down and slice by that data. So in this case, I'm interested in OneDrive. OneDrive's a big initiative for my organization. I really want to see that people are using it. And I see that I've got 5 million total files stored on OneDrive. That's pretty cool. Let's click in on that report and learn a little bit more about how people are using OneDrive. Convention Wi-Fi. And I take a look at that first report, and I see that users are pretty active, actually. We've got a lot of users enabled, and we've got about 89% of those are actually active in the products. That's cool. That's a pretty decent number. Is that a good? Yeah, here's the marketing guy making up benchmarks. But that's a pretty good number. I know that 90% of my users are actually using that. That's cool. Then I'm going to go take a look, and let's see if I can zoom that. I can't zoom that. There we go. Let's take a look at how people are actually using OneDrive in here. The yellow bar is files viewed and modified. I've got 1.9 thousand users actually viewing and modifying files in OneDrive. That seems like a pretty good number. Among those, I've got something like 1,000, depending on the date range, About 1,000 of those files are actually shared internally. That's pretty cool. That to me says 1 in every 2 documents is something that 2 people are sharing information on, potentially collaborating, co-authoring, working together. That's a big reason why I actually rolled out OneDrive. But then I noticed the turquoise, files shared externally. And you probably don't notice the turquoise bar because there are no turquoise bars. No one is sharing files externally. That's really disappointing to me. One of the reasons we went to OneDrive is so that my employees could start interacting with their vendors, their business partners, other people that they work with in a cloud-based way. Please stop attaching things to emails. We get version control. We lose control of our information. Get that up in OneDrive. So as the IT department goes, hey, people are not using this product how I want them to, and they're not getting what they're supposed to out of it, I'm going to go ahead and drive some kind of email campaign. I'm going to do some kind of training. I want to help my end users figure out how to use OneDrive more effectively. That's just a quick view of what's in here. Again, you can get all this, go into your dashboard, turn on that data so that it flows over to Power BI, go over to Power BI, instantiate the new content pack, and start playing with this. It is so easy, the marketing guy can do it. So get in there, use this, check out what's going on. It will cost you $0 to go home and do that next week. But there are some limitations in Power BI, right? It's really powerful. I can see a lot of data. I can share, I can pivot, I can slice, I can create my custom views. But we've only got 180 days of data in there. Is that the right number?
12 months.
12 months, 12 months. It is 12 months split into 30-day groups, and I want more data than that. And I want to do different things. I want to use it in a different tool. I want to pivot it in different ways. I want to pull in those same AAD attributes. Is there something that is more powerful than Power BI, which is kind of crazy to think about when you look at Power BI? So there actually is something that we can do. And this is new, some stuff that we're going to talk about today, where we can actually do more with this data in your Azure subscription. So I'm going to hand it over to Shilpi. She's going to talk a little bit about that. And then I'll come up towards the end and we'll talk a little bit more about how you can interact with some of this stuff, get us some feedback, and learn more about what's going on here. So Shilpi?
Cool. Thanks, Brian. So I know most folks are using Adoption Content Pack. Is that, you guys said yes? All right. So then you also know, like Brian was mentioning, that it comes with a little bit of a limitation. It is a cool starting point. It allows you to be able to see the power of all of this data married with your own organization's context if you do bring it into our AAD. If you don't, you still have the ability to use our template file as a starting point, use Power BI desktop, bring in the additional metadata, and then customize. But that is all a lot of work. And the biggest thing is that the Power BI content pack comes with a limitation of all the data that we can ever fit into that has to fit under 1 gig for any customer. So when you start looking at some of these rich insights that we want to provide, which comes from looking at the data at the user level, it's not physically possible to deliver that as a content pack solution. But that's one of the biggest things that people have been giving us feedback on. Give us that user level activity data with more history. Today, in the content pack, we do plug in user-level activity data, but only for the last complete month. Because we want to show you the power of that data, but if we bring in any more than that, the content pack's not going to load for anybody. Because, content pack is a free technology, free solution offered by the Power BI team, but it comes with, some boundaries and limitations. So when you start talking about trying to bring more data, it's very clear to us that if you were equating data to water and you were trying to stand in front of a tap, you would get as much water as you would get either by looking at our data in the Graph API or in the content pack, because it's a trickle. But if you want a hose and you want a lot more water or data out of our system, you have to go to our new solution that was launched this week at Ignite. We have announced that there's going to be a new offering called Microsoft Graph Data Connect, which is basically if you're familiar with the graph and you typically connect to it and pull data through the APIs, you now have a new way to be able to get data out of there. And what does this mean for your organization? Basically, Microsoft 365 has a lot of contextually relevant data about how your users are using our services, our products, and becoming more and more productive. What we want to do is enable you to be able to take this data out of Microsoft into your own Azure subscription and use any of the Azure analytical solutions available out there to further build on top of this data and analyze this data and get the insights that are relevant for your organization. So like Brian was saying, remember on the first slide, we had 2 bullet points on why do you really want to look at usage analytics, and he left the third blank out there, which is basically this opens it up from a blank canvas. It starts you up from a blank canvas in terms of the types of insights you can do, but not in terms of the types of data, because this solution, the Microsoft Graph Data Connect, comes with a lot of data sets that are intrinsically available as part of that data, offering. And the Microsoft 365 usage analytics data set will be available in this solution as well. So what does this really mean? There's a couple of really strong value propositions of this. First of all, like I was telling you, this is data at scale. So if you look at any other way of pulling data out of our system, it's a trickle. This is basically the big thing, like I was saying. It's data at scale. It allows you to be able to select the data asset that you want to be able to pull from our system. It helps you take that data. There's a starting point, and then you can actually schedule recurring upgrades of that, and you don't have to do anything else in that. But the big value prop here is that you as the admin have the ability to control the apps and what level of exposure of data that those apps have. So you are in control of who sees what and how much data is actually getting utilized by any of these apps. So it comes with a lot of governance and security and the same set of privacy and principles that Microsoft truly stands behind. It enables this data transfer pipeline and respects all of those settings and enables you to be able to set guardrails around it. Very quickly, what's really going on in here is there's an app, either your own developer or an app developer or a solution provider could be enabled to be able to pick the data from your Microsoft subscription, Microsoft environment and push it into your own Azure subscription. But the whole notion there is that they could interact with this data, create the pipeline for moving this data using Azure Data Factory, and then pulling that data into your subscription. And once it's there, there's a lot more tools that are at your disposal for being able to manipulate that data. So there's a couple of steps that are involved in this process. First, you as an admin have to onboard onto that service, and you have to make sure that there's an approval agent, security group that is enabled to be able to approve the access requests that happen. And you will have all of these documentation available as the product rolls out, so you don't have to memorize any of this right now. But the basic stages in this is once you've onboarded on, you're configuring for that initial data copy that happens from our data centers into your own Azure subscription. So you're setting up that data factory pipeline. You're making sure that you're creating a new linked service. And the key thing in this is that there'll be a lot of data sets that'll be available within that service, but you can pick and choose the ones that you want. So you don't have to bring everything into your own Azure subscription. You could if you want, and if you had a really beefy subscription out there that you wanted to bring everything. But you would be able to pick some of the usage analytics data sets by product. And the key thing is that we're planning to bring data at a daily grain there. So today, if you look at the reports in the admin portal, we provide you a last 7, 30, 90, 180-day granularity view. We're doing all of the heavy lifting of the aggregations and presenting to you that insight. If you look at the content pack, we do all of the computation at the month boundaries and create monthly aggregates for you. But all of that leaves you at the beck and call of our aggregations and computation to be able to say, okay, give us what you can compute. Versus this enables you to be able to create the definitions. Now let's say, for example, you want to now change the definition of active user in your organization. You can say the people that have used the product 5 times a week. Only they are active, otherwise everybody needs, so because you have that information available to you, you can now pick and choose how you interact with that data and how you actually reason with that data. So once you configure the data copy, you would have to initiate. What happens here is that it sends a request back to the admin and saying an app is requesting for data. It would inform our subsystem that says, create that data. So just like anyone in the Power BI content pack stage, also what you see is that when you opt in, there's an initial delay because we are processing that data. We'll have a similar delay here where we will go ahead and process your 6-month history. So when we start, you will have 6 months of daily activity data across all your users, across any of the products that you chose, that will be pumped directly into your Azure subscription. And then on, you will schedule a refresh that basically brings in every new day's data into that system. And the goal here is that once this copy is initiated, you'll be able to bring that data into your system, and you will then be able to interact with that data from Azure. What are the types of things that you'd typically like to do? One of the scenarios that we hear the most that people are trying to do with the adoption content pack is actually bring in org hierarchy. Now, we were like, why do you want to do that? Because basically, what they want to do is start pushing the adoption goals onto managers. Because they're like, your team, we've doled out so many licenses, but they're not using it. So the actionability comes from talking to managers, org leaders, and stuff like that. So what they're doing is the biggest customization of the content pack has been to bring in the org hierarchy into it. So this allows, given that if, let's say, for example, you were pumping all of that data into the AAD, your organization's user profile is going to be available as a default data set within Microsoft Graph Data Connect. And you don't have to do anything else. Everything is stitched up for you already in a way that now the data of all your users is available in the same environment as the usage activity, and you can now easily join on this and create the right reports. So I have a sample report here that I just wanted to show you of the possibilities here. What I've done is basically taken all of the familiar product level usage activity that we show you today in either Power BI content pack or the admin reports. But what we've done is bring in additional context. Org hierarchy, this is the one that I was telling you, right? You can bring your entire org hierarchy into the system and be able to join easily with the user level activity data. And look at the amount of history that you can actually create. The first initial data copy will have 6 months of data, but then on, you now have the ability to generate as much historical data that you want in your organization. It helps you to be able to see long-term trends, and you're not reliant on us to be able to create that one-year view. You now have that view across. And just to call out, we won't be able to replicate 12 months of history on this one as a starting point. I know you get the 12-month history in the content pack, but for us, due to compliance and privacy reasons, we are not allowed to keep usage data beyond 6 months. So there's no way for us to be able to go back and recreate history. So in this solution, we will only be able to offer an initial starting point of data copy will be only with 6 months of data at the per day activity across all of the products. And so, and then you continue to build the history there. We've brought in fields like department, we've brought in fields like title, and now we've enabled you to be able to do very interesting analysis that is otherwise not possible. So I could easily just look at what's the trend, how has that trend changed over time, and if I just wanted to look at how is this leader's organization doing, I'd be able to see just for her, for Davina's organization, how are the people adopting various services. I could look by, specifically if I wanted to look by org leaders or by department, or the same set of metrics, like if I wanted to look at which client apps are actually people using to connect to any of the services, I could, the data will be schematized in such a way that you'd be actually able to make the same decisions across various products. What product level activity, which apps, which platforms, which browsers, and things like that, that helps you manage your environment better. By region, this is my favorite, by top users, because you can do a lot of analysis on who's using how much of the various products, and you can look and decide, are they, like if you actually clicked on Davina, you could see who in her department was using. Now again, some of these you would choose, pick and choose what you really want to do with this data, and if it is something that enables you to take the next action, you would be able to build views like that. So again, in conclusion, we now have, Brian, you want to come back up? Because we now have the ability for you to be able to get to all of your usage analytics data in 4 ways. And Brian's going to walk you through all 4 of them again.
Let's start to wrap this up so we can get you on a roller coaster, in some Mickey ears, get a pretzel in you, whatever you need to do. So we covered 4 different ways that you can access this data. We've got that product level usage data directly in admin.microsoft.com. You've got that right now. Go home and take a look at it. We took a look at what the future of that looks like, more scenario driven and highly actionable. That's the part that I think is really cool. Again, what to look at, what to do about it. We also took a look at some of that scenario-driven stuff that you see out in Power BI, much more customizable and much more shareable, which is really cool. That lets you combine that with other data, for example, start to see stuff that you're really interested in. We then took a look at what that experience might look like when you're allowed or you're able to export your data into your Azure subscription. Much more data, much more attributes, much more views you may want to look at. And again, whatever that is that you may want to be looking at, we want to make sure that we enable that data for you. Get your phone out and take a picture of this screen real quick. All these sessions have happened already. It's day 4 of a conference. But there's a lot of interesting stuff up there. If you're interested in driving certain types of behavior in individuals, that's my analytics. If you're interested in driving certain types of behavior in entire organizations and doing that in a way that's really integrated with your Office products, that's Workplace Analytics. They did a session that I think is really interesting. If you're just interested in general admin, you want to step back a second and say, hey, how do I manage my users? How do I support and give them the best possible experience? We've got a bunch of admin sessions. All of these are available, full videos, decks, everything you want to see at microsoftignite.com. microsoftignite.com, just like where you're sitting right now. All that stuff's going to be available. So just because those have happened already today doesn't mean that you can't go see them. I would tell you to come see us on the show floor. It's over. Sorry, guys. There is nothing tomorrow. Next steps, though. This is some important stuff. techcommunity.microsoft.com. There's a community where we are starting to connect users to users. There's some great forums there. There's also a blog there where we're starting to push out more information. It's pretty Spartan right now. I think I'm the only guy that's written anything at all for that blog. But add that to whatever your blog reader tool of choice is. That's where we're going to be putting more information about this stuff as it becomes available. If you're not yet using admin.microsoft.com, if you're at portal.office.com or whatever else, please start going in there. And then one of the most important things that you can do when you leave here is give us some feedback. Like we said previously, there's a little feedback button in the actual admin experience where you can click on that, give us a star rating, give us some kind of comments. Those really do get read. Those go to real humans sitting in Redmond, Washington. We read those, we kind of group them, and we consider what are the trends that we're seeing among our users, what are the types of things we need to build, both in features in the product, but also documentation. I've had a couple questions on, what does this mean, or where is this? Tell us what you're struggling with, tell us what you like, and put it in that feedback button, and we'll take a look at that. That's all we're going to do today. Shilpi and I are going to hang around for a minute, and we will be happy to answer a couple questions. And thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate you that you stayed so late on day number 4. Have fun tonight, make good choices, and we will see you soon. Bye now.